the hell is this gonna fit inside of me? Somebody explain. I almost lost it up there. Yeah, that was embarrassing. May your cup runneth over. I'm sorry.
I've been watching you, so tell me what to do. I want it, girl, I need it. Give me all of you tonight.
Hi, I'm Tassie, and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome home, and if you're a new subscriber, make yourself at home by clicking the subscribe button. I wanted to make this video because I felt like this was going to be really educational, beneficial for whoever it may stumble across, because this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I always chicken myself out of doing it. But I have it now, I've done it now, and I want to talk about it because it's just one of those things where you kind of sort of want to never shut up about it just a little bit. I want to talk about my experience using a menstrual cup. Oh, it was an experience. It was definitely an experience, and that's kind of the point as to why I felt the need to share it, because wow. Like, I just want to give my most honest review on this product because I feel like it would be beneficial. I feel like it would be something, you know, worth noting, to be honest. And before we even get into the video, I want to say that this is not sponsored by any means. It is not sponsored. I just felt like sharing my experience and sharing my story. That's it. But with that being said, let's get into the video. So first and foremost, why did I invest in a menstrual cup? First and foremost, I had always wanted to try one, but I just chickened out a lot. But I had always wanted to experience one, for one, and for two, I'm honest to God tired of buying pads and tampons, and I'm just sick of it, honestly. Because I actually did make the conversion like not too long ago to start using tampons instead of pads, because back then, like when I was like innocent, I was terrified of tampons. I was terrified of them, and when I did try them the few times, it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. I just was not feeling it. So I was definitely a pads girl, and my mom was a tampons girl. But as I got older, it's just like, of course my mom, she has helped me, especially because I still live with her. So like, she has been buying a lot of my sanitary napkins and stuff like that. But it just got to a point to where I'm just like, I'm tired of it. I am literally so tired of it, because I'm tired of buying them. I'm tired of waiting for them to magically appear in the cabinet. I'm sick and tired of buying them. Like, I just don't want to do this anymore. So for me, I just wanted to test out and see if a menstrual cup was really worth the money, if it was really like all it was hyped up to be. Like, I just wanted to see. So I went and bought one. And I had heard that they're like way more sanitary than pads and tampons, because I honest to God didn't think that all of that stuff was in a pad or in a tampon. But there's like so many different chemicals and different little elements that are just sitting in there, and it's just like, you don't need all of that to catch blood, honey. You don't need all of that. It's just blood. You're being extra, and that's coming from an extra ass bitch like me. You're being extra. Not to mention, like, pads, I was never really okay with them, but I preferred them over tampons. But like, even with a pad, it was just uncomfortable sometimes, like, especially if you had like a heavy moment. It's not fun to just sit there. No, it's just not fun. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. And as I said, with tampons, it's like, it took me a while to really get adjusted to them and like them, because I just was not feeling what it was giving me. I just wasn't feeling it. And even when I did start to kind of feel it, and I started transitioning over to tampons, I still didn't like the idea of something being lodged inside of me and that I could actually feel it. That was the one thing that I hated. I could actually feel it. Like, at first, standing up and doing all of this walking and stuff like that, I was perfectly fine. It's when I decided to sit down that became an issue, because it's like, I can feel it, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. And like, I was finally aware of like how I sit, because I do sit in a way where like I pretty much have like good posture. So it's like, if I slouched a little bit, it would probably be way more comfortable because then I'd be sitting more on my tailbone instead of on my actual cheeks. But that's just not how I sit naturally or normally. So it was really uncomfortable. Like, I didn't like that at all. And then not to mention toxic shock syndrome. Thank God I've never experienced that. But yeah, that sounds like a bitch. So I don't want that. I don't want any of that. So anything that prevents that, I will gladly take it. So the menstrual cup that I bought is actually called the Duchess Cup, and I got it off of Amazon for exactly $16.99. It came inside this little box. I got 2 of them, and mine is a size B. So I got 2 size Bs within one container for $16.99. Honestly, I feel like that's good. I feel like that's beneficial, but I don't know. I don't even know how a normal one is supposed to cost, because you know the one that people always talk about is the Diva Cup, and Diva Cup is actually like an actual brand name, but the actual word for it is menstrual cup. So that's why this one is called Duchess. So I don't even know if Duchess is like the cheaper alternative or not. I don't know if I got a good deal or a bad deal. I'm not really sure because I'm just as new to this as anybody else. But yeah, I got 2 of them for $16.99, and I will leave the link down below if anybody is interested. But I believe they only had the B size. That's the only thing. They either ran out of the other sizes or I was just not paying attention. I don't know, but you know, it's up to you. So I'll just leave the link down below, and if you want to check it out, you can. So like I said, I got 2 of them, and they both came with these little baggies. They were stored separately to the baggies, but these baggies are supposed to store them for when you're done with them and they're all clean, and you can just put them away in like your underwear drawer or like your luggage or something like that. Enough with the cosmetic stuff, let's get down into the nitty-gritty. So if you were anything like me, you were probably looking at this wondering, how am I gonna fit this inside of me? What am I gonna do with this exactly? Well, if you were anything like me and you were following what you've seen on diagrams and on YouTube and all these other places, you probably thought that the fold method, this little thing right here, was gonna be beneficial. I feel like it all depends on the person per se, but for the most part, I don't think that's a beneficial way of doing anything. It wasn't until after I had bought this and I was actually menstruating that I found out that the easiest way to do it is to fold the front flap like this and keep one of the top flaps covered like this. And then you can just easily insert it and then it'll pop open. But I'm not gonna lie, when I first got it, I did the fold method and it wasn't bad, it wasn't painful, but at the same time, it was still like, there has to be a more comfortable way of putting this in, because it didn't go as easy as it should or as easy as I thought it was gonna go. And another thing about this too is that you have to make sure that it's actually locked and sealed inside, because what I did, I just popped it in there. Listen, this right here requires work. I don't want to say work in a way where you're gonna think like it's a lot of work and you're gonna have to do a lot of laborious tasks and it's just the hardest, most difficult thing in the world, because it's really not that deep. It's really not. But the fact that this is a new product and like, you know, it's different, yeah, it definitely requires more work than if you were using like a pad or a tampon. With a tampon, you literally can just shove it up there, you're ready to go. And with a pad, you have the sticky adhesive, so you can just stick it to your underwear, pull up your pants, and just go on about your day, not worried about it. But this little buddy right here, not only do you have to find your own method of folding it to insert it, but once you insert it, you also have to like turn it and sometimes even put your finger up there and like make sure that the fold has actually come undone, because there are plenty of moments where like the fold will kind of stay folded and you have to go up there and manually pop it open, or like just, you know, fix it, adjust it to where it's gonna be like fully open and comfortable. And you have to twist it in order for it to seal and lock in place, because this is meant to not give you any leaks whatsoever. It's supposed to be up where your cervix is, so as soon as the blood drops, it's supposed to be like right there. Which, if you look at it, now the design kind of makes a little more sense. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna lie to you, inserting this was like somewhat difficult for me. Only because I didn't really know all that I was supposed to do or what all I was doing. I just automatically assumed I was doing stuff wrong anyway, so I didn't really, like, you know, try that hard. So yeah. So when it was actually in place, I felt literally nothing at all. It felt like it wasn't really there. Like, I was aware it was there because I put it there, but like, didn't feel anything. There would even be moments where I would low-key forget that I even had one to begin with until I like went to the bathroom and I'm like, oh yeah, that's there, that's a thing. Like, I honest to God forgot that I even had a period. Like, I just forgot everything. Like, it's honestly so, what's the word for it? I don't want to say seamless, but like, you really don't feel much of anything once you actually place it where it's supposed to go. Like, it's so comfortable, light. It's not something that will bother you for real. If it does bother you, then you probably put it in wrong. But overall, it's perfect. Now the big question, because I kind of touched on it earlier, did I leak? I will admit I leaked 2 different times. But I have to say, it was only because I put it in incorrectly. I didn't seal it off. I didn't make sure that all the folds were out. I didn't do any of that. I literally just popped it in there like a tampon, called it a day. So ultimately, I will say, like, I leaked, but it wasn't really all that bad. Like, compared to how I usually leak when I use pads and tampons, it was like basically nothing really. It was basically one of those leaks where you could just throw water on it and it was problem solved. Wasn't a massacre. You really didn't even need peroxide. Like, it was good. It was okay. Plus I had on the liner just in case, so you know, didn't really worry too much. One thing that I noticed that was a little bit, I don't want to say weird because there's nothing weird about it, but I found it kind of like, I noticed that I actually had way less cramps than I did when I was using tampons and pads, and I didn't fully look into, like, you know, the ingredients or the science behind it, but it might have something to do with the chemicals that they put in it. But I noticed, like, really quickly, like, I'm not cramping as much as I used to. So that was definitely a plus about this product. Cause I don't get like terrible cramps, but cramps in general are just irritating. So like, I'm glad I didn't get any cramps. I didn't get pretty much anything. Now let's talk about the removal process, because I know you guys are probably concerned about that. I am not gonna hold you up. I'm not gonna lie to you. Once again, I put this in wrong. I don't know if it was me or if I just got the wrong size. We'll touch on that later. But I legit thought that it got lost, and I panicked. Like, I genuinely panicked. Because see, the way that it happened was that I heard that you could leave it in for hours, but I wanted to make sure that it was, you know, solid. And not only that, I wanted to make sure, like, okay, well, now it's in, is it gonna be easy for me to take it out? So I'm gonna be real with you. Once again, it was a new experience, so that was on me. But removal, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way you had to remove it. Because basically, even though you can't feel it, the reason why you can't feel it is because it's so close to your cervix. And that's not saying that it gets lost, but it definitely is up there. It is up there. So let me just be real with you. If you are not comfortable with your body and you don't know how to relax and you don't know how to just like chill out and just do what you gotta do, this is probably not the product for you, because you have to be very, very intimate with your intimate parts. You have to. Because just like I said, even with the insertion, you gotta go up there a little bit and make sure everything's okay. And you know, I'm just as squeamish, okay? I don't like the sight of blood, but there might be a point in time where you get a little bit of blood on your finger. So if you're uncomfortable with that, that's probably not the product for you. But in all seriousness, let me just give you a demonstration. So let's say this is already in here. This is already in here. It's filled with blood, you know, all that good stuff. And you're trying to take it out. This is just my hand. This is just my finger. So right here, you can see it clear as day, and you can just grab it and just boom. Nothing more, nothing less. But that's not realistic. A woman has a canal, lips, all of that. You gotta go all the way up. Gotta go all the way up. So you see where my fingers are? You gotta go up here. Let's just pretend like this is your vaginal canal. You gotta go in here and you gotta grab it. And because it is vacuum sealed, it's not gonna just pop out that easy. You gotta grab it, like literally grab it by the base, grab it by the tail, all of that. You have to really get up in there and do what you gotta do. For me, preferably, I don't even know if you're supposed to. Like I said, this is just new to me just as much. But the way that I did it, I would just take the tail and just wiggle it until it got to a point where I felt comfortable just popping it out. Some people will actually take the cup and put their finger up there and break the seal. Let me show you. They'll go up there and they'll just break the seal, bring it down. Simple as that. And then there's some people where they just straight up bad bitches and they just pop it out. I don't know how they do that. I don't know. Because in all honesty, all jokes aside, this, trying to get this out, trying to take this out of myself, I see why my exes hate me. I get it now. I get it now. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Okay? I didn't know that she was capable of that. I didn't know. Alright? Miss Mama's got a grip. Miss Mama's got a grip. She got a grip. I had to fight her to get this back. I had to fight her. It was a lot of work, but I did it. And another tip that I can give you guys, this just personally works for me. I find it better when I'm on the toilet and I take it out, because not only am I sitting down at an angle, but I also kind of squat when I'm on the toilet too. So it's way easier for me to kind of like put myself in a position where I can just like grab it and go. I've heard a lot of people, they find it easier to go into the shower and squat and take it out. I tried that. I didn't like that. But either method is fine. It honestly is up to you. I know people that can do it while they're standing up. So it's really up to you and what you want to do. But just a heads up, like removal is not as simple as 1, 2, 3 ABCs. Like you gotta put some work into it. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? So just be aware of that. So another thing that I feel like you guys should know about this is that this really exposes your femininity. It really does. I don't see my period the same way that I used to. And I know that sounds so stereotypical, like put me in a tampon commercial immediately. But no, in all seriousness, like I don't see my period the way I used to. I thought I was bleeding a lot, which technically as a woman that is a lot of blood. But like when you get one of these, you really see how much you bleed in a day and you're just like, oh, it's not that bad. Not to mention, little fun fact, I don't think you guys can see it, but there's actually measurements on here. So you can actually see how much blood you lose, like, regularly. But yeah, like, I just always assumed that I bled way more than what I usually do, because with pads and tampons, you have to change them, like, every 3 hours. So I thought it was way more complicated than that. Honey, it's nothing, really. Not to mention that, like, when you take it out or you change it, it literally looks terrible. Like it looks so terrible. So of course your first initial thought is that, oh my gosh, this is so much, this is so disgusting, this is this way, this is that way, and blah say blah. But with this, honestly, not that bad. Really not that bad, not that deep. And there was this one thing, I have to find the YouTuber. If I can find her, I will tag her, I will link her down below. But I remember she had said something when I was looking at her video. She had said something about how pads and tampons actually will change the smell of your period as well. Because for one, you shouldn't smell too terrible when you're on your period, but we all know that periods have a smell. Let's just be real. They have a smell. And she had said something about how she had actually smelled her blood when it was in one of these. And of course, like any other normal person, you kind of cringe at it, like, why would you smell that? Why would you put your face that close to a cup filled with menstrual blood, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that? But she had said that when she used one of these, she realized that there's no smell to it. It actually smells kind of sweet in a way. It doesn't smell terrible. It doesn't smell like anything weird or wrong. So me being the nosy Betty that I am, I sniffed it. I smelled it. I'm sorry. I smelled it. And I must say she was correct. She was definitely correct. It does not stink. You would think that it would stink because that's what we've been taught and that's what we've experienced, but it doesn't stink. It actually did smell kind of sweet. And it's not because of the silicone, because this one is one that I haven't even used yet. I can smell this. There's nothing sweet about this. It smells like plastic. It smells like silicone. Nothing. But when it's actual blood in here, you're just like, oh, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. So it has you, like, this is one of those things where, like, you really feel like you've reawakened, because it's like, this is nothing like what I was taught, what I experienced in the past, or nothing. Because mind you, me personally, I've had my period ever since I was 10. So, like, I've been in the game for a minute, and this is new to me. This is some new information to me. Everything that I learned was a lie. I'm not saying that you got to smell it, but all I'm saying is if you do use it, check into that. It'll have you really looking at these tampons and pad companies like, So it wasn't me. It was you, bitch. It was you. So here are my closing thoughts on the menstrual cup. I feel like if you're going to get one or you're thinking about getting one, definitely do your research. I know a few channels on here that are really, really good at explaining it, because I'm not gonna lie, I literally just made this video out the blue. There was nothing planned about this. I'm probably saying everything completely scientifically wrong, but I have to say, there are some videos out there that know a little bit more than me. So if you want a more in-depth analysis and a more in-depth explanation and the health benefits and all of that other stuff, I would highly recommend going to different channels and just doing as much research as you possibly can. And believe it or not, there are actually different shapes and sizes to menstrual cups. There is not just one set shape of a menstrual cup. So definitely look into that as well, because that is very, very important and very, very detrimental to you finding your perfect cup and not having any leaks. If you do get one, practice with it. If you have to stay in the house, which, you know, right now, the way the world is right now, you're gonna be staying in the house for a minute. So if you do try this, make sure that you stay in the house when you first try it. Don't do too much. Don't plan a whole day out and you're just now experiencing this, because this is definitely something where you're gonna have to do some work. You're gonna have to learn about your body. You're gonna have to learn about the process. You're gonna have to learn about the product. You don't want to experience a major, huge, catastrophic accident in public. You would much rather do it in the comfort of your own home. And if you don't get one, that is perfectly fine too, because I will say this is not for everybody. This is definitely not for everybody. As I already said, you gotta be real intimate with your intimates, and I understand that there's just certain people where they're not comfortable with that. And with the insertion and the removal, listen, it's a lot. Like, in all honesty, my sister, she's about to get to that age where she's probably gonna start hers and I'm gonna cry. But I wouldn't recommend this to her. I wouldn't give this to her like right off the bat, because this is definitely something that is not for everyone. It is not for a young child. It's really something where, like, it just ain't for everybody. Like, as long as you're comfortable and as long as you're being as sanitary as you possibly can, there is nothing I can say about your decision. And like I said earlier, if you're queasy and you don't like the sight of blood, you don't like touching blood and all that other stuff, yeah, this is probably not gonna be for you, because you might get a little bit on your finger, just a little bit. And if that freaks you out, I'm not responsible for nobody passing out. Not responsible. And another thing that I will say too, for those of you that might have, like, I don't know, some type of medical complication, or you just want to be 100% safe, I would definitely say check with your doctor, check with your gynecologist, make sure everything is in order, ask them any questions that you want. But I have to say, from personal experience, 10 out of 10 recommended. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.